What's happening, Carolina fans? Welcome to Two Fans in the Stands, a podcast related to all things Carolina Panthers and North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm your co-host, Tony.
And I'm your co-host, CJ.
Let's go. CJ, what's going on with you, cuz? How you feeling today?
Doing good. How you doing, cuz?
Man, I'm doing all right. Guess I'll be doing better once these Tar Heels start giving me a heart attack every week. But other than that,
Man, tell me
as long
about
as I'm taking my blood pressure medicines, I think I'm gonna be all right.
Oh my goodness, tell me about it.
So quick, let's do a quick overall recap of the North Carolina Tar Heels versus the Georgia State Panthers. What was your overall take on the game?
Man, this game was just a bunch of ups and downs. And maybe not necessarily ups and downs, but it was definitely a tale of two quarters versus two quarters, and not necessarily the first half versus the second half. It was definitely a tale of the first and the fourth quarter versus the second and the third quarter. Tar Heels came out looking great in the first quarter. Defense came up with stops. Drake May was out there slinging the rock. Second quarter and third quarter,
Right.
defense went back to, missing assignments, lackluster tackling. Drake May was rushed in the pocket. This was the first game that he really looked like a red shirt freshman quarterback. Like he really looked, he really looked like he was flustered and confused back there at times. And you got to give it up to Georgia State's defensive line. They got pressure. They got to Drake May a few times,
especially that nose tackle.
Oh man, who you telling? Look, you got to give it up to the Sun Belt Conference in general. Especially yesterday. You got to give it up to them in general. But and this was one thing I was kind of worried about. Georgia State runs that kind of option attack, out of the kind of like read option, and they were just gashing Carolina up the middle with Tucker Gregg. He's 5'10", but he's 5'10", about 220 something. But I mean, he would not go down. I mean, I seen him play with he had three of our defensive linemen struggling, to get him to the ground. Him and Jameis Williams. They were both running the ball good, and the quarterback. Then their quarterback had 18 carries for 75 yards. But it was definitely a tale of the first and the fourth quarter versus second and third. But second and third, the defense went back to playing. Like they didn't know what the assignment was.
Right.
The tackling was terrible. They went back to doing those arm tackles, and and Georgia State's quarterback is not what you would call, a downfield threat. It's not what somebody that you would be particularly terrified of. But Carolina made him look like Peyton Manning in his prime for two quarters,
and there was still a couple of passes that he missed.
Exactly. He had receivers open and overthrew them several times. I give him credit. He threw a couple of dimes in the end zone. I'll give him credit to that.
Yes, he did.
But we go swing to the fourth quarter. And then that's when I honestly think that Omarion Hampton, it was kind of DJ Jones was in the game. He was getting carries. They really didn't feature George Pettaway, too much at all. But
I think he had like
once
5 carries for 2 yards.
yeah, exactly, 5 carries for 2 yards. But Omarion Hampton in the fourth quarter was a real game changer for the offense. He got in, he ran hard. He had that one run, he got in open field and took off. It was a lot of positives. Offensively, first quarter, fourth quarter, not too many in that second and third. With Downs still out, we had Kobe Paysor that stepped up. Our let me see, Kamari Morales, a tight end.
Right.
He stepped up. So I think I think they're still learning. Especially on defense. Like I said in our preview, they still need to get on that Zoom call and stay on it for 24 hours and go over their defensive checks and calls, 24/7. Like they washing clothes, and next thing you know, somebody was like blitz or check or whatever.
Right.
They need to have that Zoom on their phone and the earbud in their ear, 24 hours a day.
Something.
But it's something's got to give, because they got a week off, but they have to get this together, before we get in ACC play. But I'm happy that they came out with the win. But it was definitely, it was definitely because they gave up 18 points to Georgia State in the third quarter, which wasn't like the 40 they gave up in the fourth quarter the week before, but it was still giving those vibes. You know what I mean? You're still sitting on the edge of your seat like, oh my God, are we really going to do this again? 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But like I said, Drake may look flustered for the first time this season. He looked like a redshirt freshman. But I like the way the game started off. I like the way some other receivers stepped up. And I like the way it finished. I like the way it finished offensively and defensively, because Georgia State didn't score in the fourth quarter. And offensively, we got that. We came back, tied the game up, and then we got one touchdown in the fourth, to get us the win. But it was a better game, but not nowhere near where we should be.
Right.
That'll be my take on it. I liked it a little bit more, but long way to go for the Tar Heels. Long way to go.
Yeah.
How about you? What did you think about the game?
Well, personally, we came out looking good, and I wanted to see how the defense was going to respond prior to the last two games that they played. With the defense that they put on tape, how were they going to bounce back and respond this game? Now, mind you, this is only Georgia State, and I keep saying that, not trying to take anything or disrespect them any kind of way, but I'm just saying that I just feel like we should be more dominant against certain teams. That's all. And these games are scheduled like this each year as to be a quote unquote warm up for us as we get ready to head into conference play. And these three games have been more than just the warm up. They have been truly eye opening. They have truly exposed our weaknesses, and to me, now they will have 2 weeks to get those things corrected as we get ready to head into conference play when we play Notre Dame in 2 weeks at home at Keenan Stadium.
Yeah.
Um, they did come out tackling better. I'm talking about the defense. The defense did come out
Yes.
tackling better. Uh, and that's what I was looking for. And like you said, they went missing in the second and third quarters, like they reverted back to their old ways, but then
Mm-hmm.
they put their seatbelt on and strapped it in, and locked them down, and they didn't allow Georgia State to score at all in the fourth quarter. Um, they did make that quarterback look a little better than what is. Darren Granger, he's more of that RPO type of quarterback. He's more of a dual threat quarterback than a passer. But I mean, he didn't throw up, guarding numbers, nothing big, but I think he was like 16 or 24 for like 185 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Again, our secondary plays suspect to me. And, at the
Yes.
level I think that they should be playing at, with the
Mm-hmm.
talent that I believe that they do have, what they have put out on tape in these first 3 games has been below average. Um, I didn't like the fact that we gave up 235 rushing yards to Georgia State. It's like when they fought their way back into the game, they just kept pounding and pounding and pounding the ball, and they was
Yes, they
using like
did.
a hurry up offense. So that kind of
Mm-hmm.
made the defense, especially our defensive front, made them tired. And as they got
Mm-hmm.
tired, you start seeing them arm tackling more. Not giving their full effort, pursuing the ball, running to the ball. So,
Exactly.
you saw that, but like I said, that fourth quarter, it's like I don't know what somebody put something in the Gatorade, so some electrolytes or something. But they got a little pep in their step, and they held their own. I'm
Yeah.
glad to see that Amarion Hampton had a good game. 16 carries for 110 yards. I think DJ Jones had like 60 or 65 yards on 10
Mm-hmm.
carries. Um, like you said, Drake May, he had a pretty decent day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he looked as poised as he had in the first 2 games, even though
Mm-hmm.
his line was he completed 19 or 24 for 284 yards, and he threw his first interception on the year. So
Terrible
right
throw.
now, I think, yeah, very horrible throw, yeah. So right now, I think he has 11 TD passes to 1 interception. I mean, you take that ratio in a given day, but that
Mm-hmm.
interception you still would like to have back, because that was an ill advised throw in my
It was.
opinion. Um, the passing attack, like I said, Kobe Purcell has truly stepped up to be that number 2 receiver. So when you get Josh Downs back, so not only do you have to account for Josh Downs, but now you got account for Kobe Purcell, and you got 3 tight ends that they have gotten involved into the passing game with Kamara Morales and John Copenhaver and Brian Nesbitt. They had pretty good games yesterday, especially Copenhaver. I think he had like 2 catches for like 65 yards. Some
64.
yeah, 64 yards, and
Mm-hmm.
Kamara Morales had 3 receptions for like 71 yards. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see them take advantage of the tight ends going down the seams, and
Yeah.
instead of just always looking to the boundary, or maybe looking for Josh Downs, to cover it in the slot. But by him not being there, now they utilizing the tight ends more and getting them more involved.
Yeah.
That way the defense, they had 2 team sacks. We had 2 team sacks. Again, no interceptions. Um, I just that defense is it's going to really be a work in progress for the rest of the year. You know, um, I like the fact that Travis Shaw got some run yesterday. The freshman defensive tackle, 5-star recruit out of Greensboro Grimsley. He had
Yeah.
2 tackles, one solo, I believe. But yeah, overall we got the win. That's
Yeah.
about
Exactly.
that's about the nicest way I can put it. We 3-0 right now. Two
Bye
and 0
week.
on the road. We got a bye week, so we got time to work on some things that need to be worked on, correct some things that need to be corrected. Um, I'm looking to see what kind of adjustments and improvements they're going to have coming out for Notre Dame, which
Yeah.
I don't even know what to expect or even look for to
Man.
that game because Notre Dame that's a whole nother subject for another time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna get because college football was like they was on that Yao Ming this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yo,
every time
man.
you every
That was
time
the
you turn
wild, wild
around,
west.
yeah, every time you turn around, you was like, what happened? Who did what?
Yeah.
No, they did.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to who? What?
Yeah.
It was like, man,
It was crazy.
this college football season here. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, I gotta give a shout out to the Sun Belt. I swear, we
Yes.
look. I feel lucky we've beat 2 teams in that conference 2 weeks in a row.
Very lucky. Very lucky. And what's crazy is that DJ Jeremiah, one of the announcers, he graduated from Appalachian State. And
Mm.
they just announced that College Game Day will be at Appalachian State next week. Yeah.
Oh,
So
word.
after they game that they had with us, and then they upset win at Texas A&M, College Game Day is going to boom next week. I think they play. Oh my God, I forgot who they say they play. Was it Marshall? I think Appalachian State and
Mm.
Marshall next week.
Oh goodness,
I'm
that ought to be good.
Oh man, tell me about it. But yeah, they gonna be in a College Game Day. But yeah, the Sun Belt Conference is ain't no slouch. They are not no slouch
Mm-mm.
this season. So that would definitely be an interesting conference. But definitely, like I said, definitely happy that our Tar Heels started off 3-0. I
Mm-hmm.
was hoping going to the Notre Dame bye week or going to that bye week before the Notre Dame game that we would be 3-0. Now that we here,
Yeah,
that gives us a little cushion. That
a,
gives
a,
us a little cushion.
a little bit, but you know what? I gotta say this. I didn't want to, but it's kind of crazy. Beginning of the season, I think it was Herb Street, and he was doing his his segment on players that he thought were going to have good years, and he did 2 players from Carolina. He did Tony
Right.
Grimes. Tony Grimes is hurt now, and guess who the other one was?
Josh Downs.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I said that completely backwards. I meant to say he did Josh Downs. I meant to say Josh Downs first. And then the other
Yeah.
one was supposed to be Tony Grimes, who he thought he was going to have such a good year. Tony
Right.
Grimes is just been he has been getting just torched all
Dusted.
season. Him and Storm Duck. It's still
Listen.
that name is so weird, Storm Duck. But let me tell you, that's got to be the worst cornerback pairing I've seen at Carolina for a long time. I mean, and like I said, Grimes was a 5-star recruit, came out of Virginia, came in early, and
One of
this is
Dre
supposed to be
Bly's
his
boy.
year. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
supposed to
one
be
of
his
Dre
year.
Bly boys.
He has looked terrible. him and
Yes.
Stormed up. Terrible all season long. I just had to say that.
No, you ain't said nothing wrong. You ain't said nothing wrong. Like I said after the game last week, when we played Appalachian State, I was like, we have no business playing man-to-man coverage. We should
None.
stop. We should stop with the man-to-man coverage. We should be a strictly zone coverage team from here on out. Because if we do,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to get torched. We're going to get our ass handed to us. Let them
Yep.
boys sit back, read the coverage, you know, play with some eye discipline if that's even possible. But I think
Mm-hmm.
anything right now will be better than playing man. We are not a man to man defense because we don't have the corners that can match up or have the skill sets to match up in man to man.
Mm-hmm.
We need to revert
Sure
back
don't.
to a zone defense where uh too high safety look. We need to keep
Mm-hmm.
everything in front of us.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and I say big ups to Cedric Gray too, because he had 11 tackles. He was out there hitting the other day too,
Yeah,
and
he had 14 total tackles, 11
yeah,
solo.
and at one point he got knocked out of the game, and I mean, and I was sitting there like, oh my goodness, like he's one that's out there, really balling for us. But
Yeah.
he came back in the game and he held it together because he made a couple big plays after he got hurt. So I say
Yeah.
big props to him and Power Echoes too.
Yeah.
I think he'll eventually come into his own. But he's shown flashes so far, But
Yeah.
it's interesting to see how our linebacking core is going to be once the season's over.
I,
I'm pretty much set on our cornerbacks so far until they prove me wrong.
yeah, I think with Powell Echols, I think Powell Echols need to get his weight up. He need to add more, more bulk to his frame. I remember when he was recruited, and they when they do the recruitment analysis, and they talk about what position you're going to play, and they kept
Mm-hmm.
saying he was like, I think he was like 6'3" or 6'2", 205 linebacker. I was like, 205 linebacker. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's like a
not gonna
safety.
cut it.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was like, he was a 4-star linebacker at two. Okay, all right, but I would have thought that between his freshman year, I think last year he redshirted.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, maybe he put on 15 to 20 pounds, between when his first year on campus and now, which is relatively a year and a half. So you could put on um 15, 20 pounds in a year and a half and be all right. But I just think he needs to add a little bit more bulk. I do like Cedric Gray coming into his own, man in that middle linebacker position, and I also
Mm-hmm.
like Noah Taylor. Noah Taylor had 1.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Noah Taylor came over from Virginia, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken.
Yeah,
I think he's a
Virginia.
grad. Yeah, he's a grad transfer. But yeah, we have some potential, especially
Mm-hmm.
from our linebackers and our defensive line.
Yeah.
There are some guys along the defensive line that have not lived up to they 4 and 5-star ratings. Like
Mm-hmm.
Desmond Evans and Miles Murphy.
Yeah.
Cameron Kelly. It's like his game has regressed. Instead of gotten better. I was expecting more out of him.
Mm-hmm.
From the safety position. Um, but overall, look, like I said, we 3-0, 2-0 away. We got a bye week this
Mm-hmm.
week, so now all we can do now is just pray.
Yeah, we got to see what Gene Chizik come up with, and
Yeah,
yeah, and, and yeah, like you said, and pray. And I was gonna say, I think Eccles did put on a little weight. They got him listed at 6'2", 225. So,
Okay.
you know, but
Okay.
I agree with you though. You know, I mean, he's kind of been, you know, one of the vocal leaders, you know, on the team this year.
Yeah.
Because it's been several instances where he's kind of got the group together on the sideline and, you know, calmed them down and was like, hey, you know, you do what you need to do, you do what you need to do. I'm gonna do what I need to do. Let's go out there and do it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
now, you know, how much that's helped so far is yet to be yet to be seen, because, you
Right.
know, these
To be
games have been
continued.
really too. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exact. To be continued. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everyone, that would do it for us this week. We will see you in 2 weeks as our opponent is the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame at home at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Until then, Tar Heel fans, we out.
Thank you for listening to 2FansInTheStands podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and listen to us on your favorite podcast apps such as Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Tune in next week for another episode.